Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to keep going with the summer conversation. We have a lot of talk about transfers, players both coming in and leaving the club. We have an update on some Euro 2024 squads, and generally just conversation surrounding the world of Celtic Football Club. It's a wee bulletin type video for you today. We're taking our mind away from the tier lists and shopping lists and any other type of list. Let's just talk for a change. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you for the support on the last couple of days, because the videos that I've done surrounding the summer transfers and what Celtic need to do to renovate the squad have gone down a treat. You guys seem to have loved them, both the first part where we done a tier list and yesterday when we done the shopping list. A fantastic response from you guys in the comments section and the like buttons. Let's keep that up today, shall we? Thank you for all your support. Let's get into today's video. So let's start with the shock of the day, shall we? Because Matt O'Riley has not been selected for Denmark in the Euro 2024 selection. He's been left out of the national team. He hasn't made the cut for the 26-man squad. Absolutely baffling decision, one that doesn't just baffle us as Celtic fans, but even the Danish people. By the reaction online, it seems they are really annoyed that Matt O'Riley hasn't been included. Manager Kasper Hjulmand has left the Dane out. Baffling. Unbelievable. This is the squad he has selected, as a bat on my monitor, sorry. This is the squad that he has decided to take to Euro 2024, and obviously if you look through that list, you'll see a few midfielders you'll recognise the names of. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, of course, Christian Eriksen, a few other recognisable names in there. Thomas Delaney, formerly of Borussia Dortmund. But no Matt O'Riley. He has been left out despite a very impressive season with us here, winning both the Scottish Premiership and the Scottish Cup, having one of the most amazing seasons we've seen in Scottish football in a long time. He's been given the knockback. Crazy. So this is what manager Kasper Hjulmand said in the Danish outlet Bold following his team selection earlier today. He said that Matt's been a really good player. He's had a great season. I've picked 6 players that we can move around a bit. It's been at the expense of Matt, but it was a tough choice. I know that he's going to play a lot of international games. He couldn't do anything differently. And later on he commented that there had to be a few players left out. He can't just name them all, but one of them is Matt O'Riley. So the kind of stock response from Kasper Hjulmand, not really the insight that you would like to hear as to why he's been left out of the team. Obviously this is a loose translation from Danish as well. But yeah, Matt O'Riley not involved, which I can't wrap my head around whatsoever. Listen, it doesn't affect me. It's not going to keep me up tonight that Matt O'Riley hasn't made the Danish national team. I think it would be stupid to act all worked up about it when it's not the nation I'm supporting at the Euros. After all, I'm Scottish, I'm not Danish. You know, that's their loss. If anything, you know, Denmark have, I think, lessened their chances of success by not taking Matt O'Riley, which is great for a nation like Scotland, I suppose. But it's just, I'm gutted for Matt himself, because I think that he's worked so hard, and he spoke so openly in the past about how important being in that national team is to him, and how much he wanted to do to be in there for his parents, for his grandparents. I think he spoke about his grandmother, who he knows probably doesn't have a long time left, and he wanted to be in that team for her. And remember his pride that he spoke of when he made his debut earlier on in the year for the national side. You would have thought that his performances over the course of the season for Celtic would have done enough for him to be involved in an international tournament and be a key part of that team in the international tournament. But manager Kasper Hjulmand saying no. So I'm just devastated for him because of how hard he's worked and how good he's been. I mean, I don't think he could have done it. As the manager himself said, I don't think he could have done anything different. He couldn't have been much better than he was this season. I think it's a crime that he's been left out. And yeah, obviously that means he's got a summer where, I suppose the positive as a Celtic fan is there won't be too many teams watching him through the summer, but I don't think it makes a difference. The kind of character that Matt O'Riley is, he'll use this as motivation to step his game up even more. next season, whether it's at Celtic or whoever else. He'll be even better, and that's good for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can produce, whether it is with us or whether it's through him moving on. As I touched on a moment ago, I don't think this affects anything in relation to him leaving the club. I still see him leaving. Some people might ask the question, well, does that not, maybe lessen the chances of him leaving because he couldn't get into that team and teams won't be watching him through the summer? I think that if teams are really interested in him, they would have seen what he done over the course of this campaign for Celtic, and that is enough. I don't think that a few appearances at the Euros would change anybody's mind. If a club in England or Atletico Madrid or Inter Milan or whoever we're talking about here is really interested in signing Matt O'Reilly, trust me, they'll still go for him. If they've got the money to spend, they're not going to pass up on that opportunity before someone else maybe swoops in. So I still expect him to leave. I'm just gutted for him. I thought it would have been a great reward for his accomplishments with Celtic and the season that he's had, and he's been deprived of that. So your loss, Casper, your loss. But Matt, head up, son. You'll be at the World Cup, I'm sure of that. So, to move on from Matt O'Reilly's disappointment for a moment, we're going to move on to transfers, because there's been a couple of names floating around being linked with Celtic in the past couple of days, including one that is Altay Bayındır of Manchester United, the Turkish goalkeeper who has spent time as the understudy to Andre Onana this past year. His name has been floated around with Celtic quite a lot over the past 24 hours after this article in Turkey came out claiming that Celtic were ready to pull the trigger on the signing of Altay Bayındır. The headline saying that a new team was coming in for him for a 4-year contract, and if you read on in that article, then you'll notice that it does say that he's off to Celtic, that Celtic have prepared to add Altay Bayındır, that they've offered a 4-year deal, and that's his next destination. That's what the article Aksam in Turkey went on to say. And after that, in the midst of all of this, people have been sharing it left, right and centre. It's been picked up by numerous tabloids as well, all for it to fall apart in the matter of hours. So I want to give credit for a moment to the friends over at Everything Celtic. This was a tweet that they put up today in regards to this story, noticing some holes within the story itself surrounding the sudden arrival of Altay Bayındır to Celtic. Everything Celtic pointed out that in the article it was posted 10 days ago and it was not picked up anywhere else until very, very recently, aka last night and this morning. And in the article, it said that the news originated from the UK press. And if you go back and look, up until this morning, there was no existence of this story being a thing within the UK press. It wasn't reported by the Daily Record, the Daily Mail, Sky Sports. Nobody over here was reporting that Celtic was going in for Altay Bayındır. However, this article existed for 10 days in Turkey, claiming that the UK press said it was happening. Just wasn't the case. And then roughly 1 hour ago, as time of recording, Chris Wheeler of the Daily Mail posted this, saying that Manchester United sources have denied speculation in Turkey that goalkeeper Altay Bayındır is set to join Celtic. Bayındır has a decision to make this summer over whether he wants to stay as number 2 to Andre Onana after only playing once for Manchester United last season. So, in the space of this article gaining some traction this morning, claiming that he was joining Celtic, to 3 o'clock this afternoon, him not joining Celtic, it's been a roller coaster for Altay Bayındır, one that him himself has probably not been aware of. And this all comes back to what I was saying with all these articles that were coming out in relation to Ergin Sakir with Trabzonspor. You can't take everything that's been reported from a foreign country as complete truth. If you don't know the source, if you don't know the journalists, and there's no way to verify the credibility of it all, there's no point in reading into things too much. It's just that article came out a little while ago that apparently Celtic had bidded $7.5 million for Sakir of Trabzonspor, and I've said time and time again in the videos talking about that story, take it with a pinch of salt. Don't believe it until a credible source has verified it. And that's why, because very quickly we have seen this story of Bayındır being rubbished by credible sources in the UK. I don't doubt for 1 minute that Bayındır is probably on a list at Celtic somewhere. He's somebody who I think is a very easy target for Celtic to go and get. Back up at Manchester United, not playing a lot of football, had a career before that where he was playing football and probably wants to be a first team choice again. I certainly expected to see his name maybe crop up. There were murmurs of it a couple of months back. But, just I don't see it happening. I think it's been completely rubbished as well. Yeah, so in case you've not had the update, that's Bayindir to Celtic. Don't read into it too much. However, one you probably can read into a little bit more is this one that was reported by Football Scotland last night, surrounding Cremonese player Charles Piquel. You could call him Charles Pickle if you like, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Piquel. But Celtic reportedly looking to scout the Serie A player in their promotion playoff matches. The article went on to say that Celtic will be watching Charles Piquel when he plays in Cremonese's Serie A promotion playoffs, Football Scotland understands. Back in April, it was reported that the midfielder had been offered to Celtic as they put the feelers out, and now Celtic will go and scout the player during his promotion playoff fight with Venezia. So somebody that Celtic are apparently looking at, midfielder from Cremonese. I've never really heard of him before, but I don't doubt that we're sending scouts. Once again, don't jump in and think this means we're going to sign this Mr. Piquel. Doesn't necessarily mean that. We're scouting the player. You're allowed to read into that. Currently 27 years of age, Piquel has been playing in Serie B this season with Cremonese, where they've had a very good season. They're challenging now to try and make it to Serie A against Venezia, making 27 appearances in the league phase alone, 3 goals and 2 assists from defensive midfield. He's formerly played for Basel, as well as a couple of teams throughout France and the continent. He's been about 27. He plays for the Congo on international level, but offered to Celtic reportedly back in April, so we're following that up on a scouting mission. So this could be one of the midfield targets, I suppose, for Celtic this summer. I'm sure he'll be one of many, though. I don't see too much in this right now. And that does it for today. There was a report in The Sun today surrounding the people who could be leaving Celtic, but we've basically covered that ground. There's not much new in that report. We went through the Sky Sports article last week where Anthony Joseph detailed players that are on the list to move out the door at Celtic. The Sun only added one more player onto that, and it was of all players, somebody who I personally expected to leave Celtic this summer. So yeah, not much else to talk about. It has been a sort of quiet day but busy day at the same. One of those weird ones where there's actually quite a lot to talk about, but they're not huge stories. To break it down, Matt O'Reilly somehow left out of the Denmark team. Bayindir of Manchester United won't be coming to Celtic. I think there's a lot of nonsense in that story. And Celtic are scouting midfielder Charles Piquel of Cremonese. So there you go. That's your breakdown. If you've enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and everything else in the comments below. But I'll see you in the podcast tomorrow. Until next time, cheerio.